How do you order bulk orders for your Shopify store? And actually, it doesn't have to be your Shopify store, to be honest. I know that most people that sell on Shopify are doing drop shipping, and I love drop shipping for the way of identifying what products work. But to really maximize your profit margins, what you should look at is buying your products in bulk. So if you're buying your products in bulk in China for your Shopify store, and it doesn't even have to be Shopify, like it can be Amazon, right? If you don't private label them, so if you don't, put your own logo on it and custom packaging and all of that stuff, this video is for you, because in this video, we're going to speak about the whole process, all of the steps that you have to go through when you're sourcing your product. Actually, it's a lot faster sourcing your product when you don't put your logo on it, when you don't have custom packaging, when you don't do any of that stuff. Because to be honest, that's really what takes the time, right? So the way that I would always start, and the way that we're starting with our products, oftentimes we just put them up. Drop shipping is great, just to see out, hey, is there a demand for the product? Can we actually sell the product before we place any order? Then going and to just kind of compress time and to make it as quick as possible, we source the products in bulk, to have a little bit of a margin on that. And because then it's proven, right? Then it's proven, we know it sells, and then we go into private label, right? When I say we, I mean my partner and me. I have a Chinese partner in my business. I'm actually in China right now. I live in China since 2013. For everyone that doesn't know this channel, if you know this channel and if you've watched videos before and you aren't subscribed, make sure to subscribe to the channel right now. If you're new, also consider subscribing, because we talk about sourcing, selling, and profiting from your private label product. And that includes everything e-commerce, that includes everything sourcing related, that includes really everything that you need to sell your products, right? Whether you're just starting out or you're looking for ways to improve, to improve your existing products, or maybe you have existing products and they're not selling, or, you can't sell them profitably. Stay tuned to this channel. Make sure you subscribe, because we have a lot of videos coming that will help you out. Also, for all your Amazon sellers, it's great Amazon is great. It's a great platform to start. But it doesn't mean you have to order, you always have to order products with your logos and in the private label range. Especially when you guys looking at products of, 100 units, 200 units, 300 units. That's usually where people start. And I think that's a cool trend, because back 1 or 2 years ago, everyone just started with 1,000 units, right? And then everyone launched 1,000 units, didn't sell. And then, oops, you had all the messages popping up in the Facebook groups like, hey, I have this stock, I can't sell it, who want to buy it? Right? Do you remember that? So now people are more cautious, and I love that trend, actually, that people go and say, hey, let's try things out. So in this video, I want to share the whole process of sourcing your product. And if you want to go in depth, where you can learn everything step by step, make sure you tune in next week, because next week I give you the whole step by step guide through sourcing your products in China. So make sure you subscribe, turn on the bell, so that you get notified when that comes out. Because that one is really, really good. Okay. But for now, why can I talk about sourcing? Over the last, it's 7 years already, we sourced more than 1,000 products here in China. We've got a couple of girls here in the office, one guy as well, and all they do all day is sourcing products. So we've learned so much in the process, and we've come so far. And if you know this channel, then you know that I always recommend you to have a sourcing agent to help you. Right, I always say, hey, find your sourcing agent that can help, that can handle the orders for you, that can speak with the manufacturer, that can do all of that stuff, right? If you started with drop shipping, that's usually not possible, because then the agent needs to get paid, and usually it doesn't, you still save the time, it's still great, but you won't get his feedback just by what he saves you, right? The agent gets you a better price, but if you're going and just order those small items, then the agent doesn't want to work with you on a commission, because his pay is just not great, right? You can still go for it and say, hey, here's $300, here's $400, let's go, let's do it. Like, I want you to handle all supply the communications, find a product, do the whole sourcing things for me. But look, if you're on the Shopify side, if you're on the, just starting 200, 300, 400 units, you should consider doing it yourself. Like I say, if you want to save the time, get an agent, but probably you're doing that because your budget isn't huge, right? So let's go through all of the steps that you have to take. And like I say, It's a lot faster. It's a lot simpler than doing, the private label route, however you want to say that. So what you start with is that obviously you're going to know a product, right? So in the very first step, what's the product that you want to have? What's the product that you think will sell? And like I say, if you already have proven that with drop shipping, awesome. Great, that's the way to go. Now, if you have a couple of hundred units that you want to have for a product, the very first thing, what's the product you need and what does the market really want about that product? So you have, for each product that's out there, you have multiple different suppliers for the same kind of product that you could go with, right? So you need to listen to your market. What do they really need? Do they need the highest quality, or are they just fine with the medium quality, but you can earn a little bit extra on the price? I always think that the better the quality, the better it is usually, but the problem is that sometimes the market doesn't require it. And if the market doesn't require the very best, and you're good with kind of the mid-range a mass product, right, that everyone wants and everyone is cool with and everyone thinks that's fine as a quality, then go with that. Just make your life a little bit easier and save a little bit of money on the product, because the actual margin that you do is you buy it for one price, you sell it for one price, and then you have the majority of that's the majority of cost that you have. In between is how much do you have to pay for your product. So obviously we all want a cheap product, but all I want to say is listen to your market. What do they really need? So you can go on Amazon. Amazon is a great place for that. Just read through reviews from other sellers. When you have sellers that are already having branded products, when you have sellers that already have products out there that are similar to yours, just go on the platform and have a look. Just because if you go and you read through the reviews, you will see immediately what people love about the product, what they don't like about the product. And that's where you can get your basis out for the supplier that you want to go with. Because now it's all about getting the right supplier, having the product yourself so that you can decrease those shipping times. You don't want to stuck with drop shipping forever. You're going to increase your conversion rates by a lot if people don't have to wait 30 days for their product. Okay. So that's the very first steps. Think about what's the product that you want and exactly what are the specifications? What do you need the product to be like? What's the things that your customers love about the product that you need to include? And what are the things that people hate about competitors' products? Can you find a better one? And the next step is you want to go on Alibaba or on 1688. And to be honest, it doesn't matter. Like they're both the same thing. 1688, by the way, is Yao Liu Baba in Chinese. And Yao Liu Baba sounds very similar to Alibaba. And that is no coincidence. That's on purpose because it's the same thing, right? It's just 1688 is more geared to the Chinese, for Chinese buyers. And Alibaba is more geared for the Western buyers, right? If you know how to negotiate and if you know what your product should be worth, then it's also easier. Then you can just go with Alibaba. Sometimes you find a little bit better prices on 1688, but then other fees come later, and the prices are based on a different market. So if you just stick with Alibaba to make it simple, you go on Alibaba, you look through suppliers. You want to filter by suppliers that are gold suppliers, which is a thing that they can buy, right? That's a batch that people purchase. So it just tells you like this is a legit supplier that can afford it. All right. Then you have verified suppliers. You don't like the risk that you're taking here isn't huge, right? And the things that I will tell you in this video are going to help you to minimize the risk when you place a bulk order. All right. So don't worry about all the certifications and all of these things as of now. The only thing that you want to do if you order a couple of hundred units is look through all of the suppliers and really take your time with that. Don't just go on the first page and look through the first 5 or 10 or suppliers like that. Go and filter all of the suppliers. When I do it, I have literally hundreds of tabs open in my browser. I look at all of the options, all of the suppliers. Oftentimes you'll see that some of the products look identical. And that is because they are, right? There oftentimes you find a lot of trading companies that sell these and, one factory that produces it, and then a lot of trading companies buy it and resell it. You're not going to be able to get the best price from those trading companies, but if you only order a few hundred units, oftentimes the factory doesn't want to sell you. And there's nothing wrong to go with those agency first until you have, until you can increase your order volume, until you can increase your sales, so that it makes sense for you to go in the thousands of units, right? So look out for every supplier. You wanna have a list of as many possible suppliers that you can. Look at all of the pictures, look through the descriptions, really take your time here and find out what is the exact product that my market really wants here. What could be the best choice? And probably you end up with 20 or 30 different options that you have. And that's good. You have to go through all of this because a lot of suppliers in the next steps that we're going to go through will fall out. So stay tuned here. And by the way, anytime you have questions, just leave me a comment in the comment section below. I'll always get back to that. Let me know what you want to listen about next, what you want to hear about. And if you're listening to this on the podcast, just head over to the YouTube channel, to Easy Peasy Ecom, and watch it there. And if you don't have time to watch it, but you really want to listen to this, just go to any podcast directory and look for Easy Peasy Sourcing. You will find this podcast, and then just subscribe on those channels. So we're everywhere, all right? So now, after you found 20 to 30 possible suppliers, you want to message all of them. Okay, so you want to message each of and everyone, and there's a tool that you can mass message everyone, but you really don't want to overwhelm people. So when you send a message, it's very clear if you're asking for 100 units or 200 units. It's very clear that you're not a major purchasing company. You're not a major player, right? And they know that. So your price will be accordingly. But the one thing that you don't want to do now is to, put up big words, put up a big throw profile, send them a long list of questions. You just want to have it very, very simple. Okay, you say, hey, you want to write your content as simple as possible and describe complicated words and make them more simple. You want to be sure that the supplier, when they come back to you, they understood what you mean, that they understand what you need, right? So if you have questions about the product, if you, for example, read in the reviews something that, people complain about one product from your competitor that was really bad, now you can ask the people question and just chat with them and see how is the response. Oftentimes you get a gut feeling, even before you had the quotations, just by, the way you're messaging people and they answer you and you're in communication with someone. Just by that, oftentimes you kind of get a gut feeling of, how is it to work with that supplier? Is that supplier reliable? Do I get answers quickly? If all the answers that you have specific to the product take forever, then they're probably going back first to the actual supplier and ask them those questions, right? The main things here that you want to know, though, of course, is the price. How much is the product and how much is the shipping for the product? Usually you want to get an FOB price, right? That includes the shipping, that includes everything. So you say, hey, I want to have my product shipped to, let's say, Australia. Can you give me an FOB price, FOB to Sydney or FOB to wherever you are? And that's the price that you want to have, right? For now, you don't have a lot of wiggle room with when it comes to negotiations and all that, because just your order quantity is very small. When you're now at the point where you found a few suppliers, you go back and forth with these 20, 30 suppliers, and that takes time. But you want to go through that, because if your supplier isn't reliable and you get products that are damaged and you get products that have a bad quality and those products later on go out to your customers, then you will have a big problem, right? You will have to pay for all of those refunds. You will have huge headaches. So take this extra day or two right now instead of going through weeks of headaches in the future. Okay, can you do that? Please, because it's so important. First, get a gut feeling, and then when you chat with those 20, 30 suppliers, narrow them down. Just ask them for the prices, ask them especially for how much is the product, how much is the shipping in that FOB quote, like what are the parts on that. Get the right prices and order conditions. Order conditions can mean payment methods, that can mean lead times, that can mean quantities. All of that you want to ask them for what's possible, and then they give you a quotation basically, right? So now when you have all of those quotes, you can look through and kind of cut through them. The goal here is to have 3 to 5 suppliers that are looking good on papers, where the numbers work for you, where, the order condition, perhaps you can pay with them with PayPal to make it easy, to make it simple, at least for the first order. If you can pay them through Alibaba, that's also fine. You're also insured there because you have the trade insurance. Don't wire the money in the first. Don't send them a bank transfer in the first order. Okay, you wanna have a little bit of a relationship going first for that. So all of those are order conditions, right? So see, hey, do you accept PayPal? If not, can I pay you through Alibaba? What's the price at my quantity? What would be the price if I have a bigger quantity, right? And then you just want to go through the whole process and filter down. If you have 3 to 5 suppliers, that's cool. Because now the next step that you want to do, and that's really the final step before you can place an order, is ordering a sample. And that is missed by so many people selling products online. You have to have a sample. If you don't have a sample, you have a problem because you don't know the quality, right? You've seen pictures, you've seen descriptions, but they might have just taken the pictures from somewhere. It might not actually be the same product, right? So you have to be sure that the quality is actually good. And the one thing that you do for that is that you get order samples. When you get samples, you want to have them all sent to your house as quick as possible. So you say, hey, I want to have samples. Do you have some in stock? And you just send them over. You might have to pay for some of those samples, and that's okay. If you have an agent, they can bundle that for you. But if you're on your own, you just ask 3 to 5 factories to send you that. And yes, I know it costs money, right? I know it takes a little bit of time. But if your quality isn't good, and you send out products that aren't as described for you, then you are the one who's liable. Then you are the one that has all the back charges, that has to refund people, that has all the trouble, right? So once you have the samples, really what you want to do is you now have the numbers from the quotations, and you have the samples, so you know the quality. And that's all you need to place your order. So now go back to one supplier. You choose one supplier and say, you have the conditions that I like and the quality that I like. Now I would like to place a bulk order. And if you would customize your product as a private label product, then now you would go into putting your logo on it, custom packaging and all of that stuff. Right now, you just wanna place your order simple. So if they have it in stock, great. If they have it in stock, you say, okay, I want to buy them now. You send them the money. They send you the products. You get a tracking code. Make sure you follow up with the tracking, and that's really it. If they don't have it in stock, you only want to pay a 30% deposit on your order. Then you want them to produce, and then you pay the 70% net payment. Right? That's how you do it. But if they have it in stock, and usually with a few hundred units, that's the case. Just pay the order, have it shipped, but always pay in a way that is secure. So pay through PayPal or pay through Alibaba with the trade insurance. Because if anything goes wrong, then you can go back to that, and then you have actually some leverage with the supplier, because you can say, hey, you didn't deliver the quality that I wanted to. You didn't follow up on your part of our agreement. So I'm going to have to return my money. Right. With that leverage, you can work with the supplier. If you send them a bank transfer and you can't get your money back, well, now you don't have any leverage in, if anything went wrong. So let me know in the comments, what questions do you have through this progress? Do you think it's a crazy progress to go through? I actually think it's the minimum. Like we will oftentimes go further. This is the minimum that you have to go through. So let's recap that real quick. Very first, you want to look out for all possible suppliers on the platform that can deliver the quality that you need, right? You make your research. What's the good product? What does my market need? Then once you go through all of them, you want to contact them. You want to chat with them, ask them questions about the product, see if they're reliable, see if they, come back to you quickly. What's your gut feeling with the supplier? Then you ask them for numbers. So you want to have, it's basically like a funnel. It's a filtering process. You want to have their quotation. And it sometimes can be a bit tricky because you get so many messages from so many people, and it's hard to take them apart, right? So try to stay on sometimes you can stay in the chat on the Alibaba platform. That makes it a lot easier. So you have all the quotations, and then you get samples. You filter, you narrow them down again, and you get samples from 3 to 5 suppliers. You don't want to go get one sample, by the way, and then get that sample, look at it, oh, that's not good, throw it away, get the next sample, oh, that's also not good, throw it away, get the next sample. You want to go as fast as possible here. You don't want to, it takes the same time it takes so much more time to go and get all these individual samples. And you will have to go through that process anyway, because I can promise you in those samples, not all will be great. Right. But that's pretty much the whole process if you want to order bulk products for your Shopify store, for your Amazon. When you're just starting out on Amazon, when you order a few hundred units, this is not the progress with dropshipping. With dropshipping, you should also get a sample. We go there in another video. Make sure to subscribe to this channel, because next week we're going to have a huge series about the whole process in detail. I'm going to share my screen with you. We filter suppliers together, and we go through the whole sourcing process together. So make sure to subscribe, turn on the bell, and you need to do that. Maybe you give it even a like for this video. Do something that the YouTube algorithm knows that you're interested in these videos, so that you don't miss next week's videos. It's so important. They're going to be great. Make sure you watch out for that. I wish you a great day. And, remember, sourcing in China can be easy peasy.